Hello everyone, welcome to Word Funk. I am Leon Thomas. I am joined by Austin Yorsky and Johnny Maloney. Right before the show, Austin screamed boners, and I was very happy about that, as I always am. And we missed it. We missed it because we weren't recording, and I wanted to at least narrate what happened, as a dramatic reenactment. But it led us to this discussion that I said boners are that's an inherently funny word, so you don't even have to make a joke. And Austin said that there is a list of inherently funny words on Wikipedia, and I said we have to wait for the show because I want to test this whether or not this is even true. So I want to look right now.
Is this really just the Wikipedia/Google show? Because we've been doing this a lot recently, and I hope people are into it.
It's good. Yeah, I suspect that they are.
So I beat you there, and it appears that since the last time I've been here, they've removed the list, and now it's just...
Oh, no, this is terrible.
Now it's just a stub explaining that the concept exists, and there's a thing at the top that says, it has been suggested that this article be merged into humor and humor research, which I bet are just side-splitting pages.
That sounds like a really funny preface.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, this was proposed in February 2017, and we're recording this in March 1st, huh? So this is a very recent development. We're like first on the scene of the scoop, boys.
We just missed it.
We're like the TMZ of the internet.
Who's messing with our humor Wikipedia? Oh my god, guys, go to the page on Wikipedia for humor because there's a picture of a man and he is making my entire day. This is a delightful little man. I'm gonna.
I really like how this episode started.
Oh, okay. So the caption explains that this is John Falstaff from the Shakespeare plays.
Oh,
Henry, the fourth and fifth. It's not how I pictured him. He is much jollier. You're welcome for the intro to this audio-only podcast discussing websites and pictures you cannot see. That's our new specialty.
If there's any justice in the world, this will somehow be worked into our title card. Mm-hmm. So if for some reason
I'm hoping
there's a very orange man who's giving you maybe sort of a creeper look, but also maybe a little bit like, yeah, you know what's going on kind of look.
Yeah,
then really... I spoke the truth.
I feel like the show is interactive and that people follow us through the internet as we look at things on the internet. Okay. So it's fine. It's fine.
That's a good thing we can tell ourselves to absolve us of responsibility for our skills at this. You should get really buck wild on that Photoshop and make it 3 pictures of him, and one has sunglasses and one has a hat on his hat, and then there's another one where it's in the Google Dream with all the eyes. Just get just really get in there.
You don't want to thug life that picture.
Absolutely.
With the little 8-bit sunglasses and the spliff.
Yeah, you definitely got to get Falstaff blazing it.
Absolutely. Falstaff is I believe one of his lines was forsooth 420.
Yeah.
That was Johnny, you went out on a limb for that one, and I really hope it paid off.
It probably did not.
Well, tell us in the comments.
That was like one of those, when people are like, oh man, you fell out of the ugly tree and hit every branch on the way down? That's how that happens. Telling jokes like that. Don't do it, kids.
Tell us in the comments whether or not you liked Johnny's joke. It's important to
or
me.
not.
It wasn't
Leon's
even
not
in
your dad.
iambic pentameter.
Yeah, that would have been impressive. Mm-hmm. I have stuff.
We don't have that kind of time. Sorry.
Do you guys want to do a show?
It was on my mind. I feel like I haven't seen you guys in ages now.
Yeah.
Because normally when we do Word Funk, we record Dice Funk the night prior.
Yeah.
But this week, because of game developer conference related shenanigans, and also maybe because the campaign's over.
Yeah.
No secret if you're current, but yeah.
Well, some people aren't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No spoilers, but yeah, we're done.
Yeah.
So now I'm just saying I feel like I haven't seen you guys in a while, and I feel like I want to talk about stuff as opposed to just be like, hey guys, last night was crazy, wasn't it? Well, time to iron some shirts.
Johnny, if it makes you feel any worse, you still can't see us.
Aw.
Took some inventory there. Feeling just fine.
Just took emotional stock. Speaking of emotional and other stocks you could take of yourself, I've had some medical stuff this week. I don't know if it's interesting to talk about. And This is bad.
This is bad news in America. Did you get a hangnail?
Jesus. I'm not trying to take this in a political direction. It's just something I've never talked about on the show before, and I was wondering if it might be interesting. Sure. Johnny, I know from your tweetos that you've had a bit of a head situation. Did you want to talk about that, or?
Look, there's really nothing to tell. Okay. I don't really get headaches. I'm what you call a normal person. That's not like, I'm not ragging on people who get migraines or anything like that, or what have you. It just, for like the last 2 weeks, with the exception of today, I have had the same headache. It may have been a succession of different headaches, but like a Broadway show, I just sort of feel like it was the same cast and crew clocking in like every day at the same time to do the same thing again. So it's like there might be little variances, like the way he sings this line, or like, kicks his foot out at that step or something, but it was the same headache. And I woke up today, and I honestly, I couldn't tell if I felt normal or not. So I think I've either acclimated to this headache, or it went away, which is just like either one of those. I feel great.
Okay. What have you done to like remedy it, if you don't mind my asking?
Because people will tell you all kinds of bullshit when you tell them just like you have minor problems with health. You're like, my back kind of hurts. They'll be like, that could be your shoes, right? It's like, yeah, it could, but that doesn't really fucking help me right now. Like reading on the internet that like maybe you should sleep on your back is like all well and good if that's the fucking problem, but. So when it's like a headache, people are like, "Are you drinking enough water?" Yes, I'm drinking enough water. Are you stressed? Well, no more than usual. Do you think that perhaps you have some dental problems? If I do, they're like symptoms are exclusively a headache. I don't fucking know.
I feel like all of these suggestions are like stuff that exists in the past and are not proactive. Like when I say, what did you do to remedy it? Like if you said, hey, I have a headache, Leon, I'd be like, oh, here are the right pills.
I over the counter or on the shelf, I think we discussed this. On the shelf, anti-inflammatories have a tendency to underwork for me. I'm also keenly aware of how bad Tylenol is for you, which is a real shame because I have had a long-standing romance with NyQuil.
Hot.
So I've been taking ibuprofen when it gets really bad, but by and large I've kind of been able to go about my day just as long as I don't have to sneeze, cough, and or turn my head really, really quickly. But yeah, I would take ibuprofen when it got really bad, but I was like, I'm just trying to do everything that I could to be like, okay, well, maybe I am stressed, maybe I'm tired, maybe I'm fighting something. I might be fighting a virus. I had a fever a week and a half ago on the weekend. I wasn't doing too well. So, maybe it was any and all of the above. So I was getting sleep and I was trying not to overwork myself and just like, take it cool, calm, collected. Be like the Fonz after he discovered yoga. And okay. Today, I don't know, that seemed to pay off. So maybe I just needed some rest. Maybe I was fighting something off. I don't know, but I feel good right now. I mean, as good as I usually do, which is not that great because of, other things. But yeah, I feel I'm riding high right now. So that's me. But Austin, okay. I'm concerned now because, if you're having a health problem, because I've had you can talk to me. I've had doctors put things up my penis. I've had people stick things in my butt for fun and professionally, and sometimes both. And if you've got
a
problem,
were you dating the doctor? That's the only way that would work.
No, not necessarily, because you can pay certain people to do certain things, Leon.
Oh, fair enough. Good point. I didn't even go there, but all right.
So are you well? Are you some semblance of well? Is there a wisdom tooth problem? Do you have an internal organ that needs replacing? Because I'm not a universal donor, but
I couldn't tell when you were done. I was waiting.
Sorry, like I said, I was so excited. I woke up this morning and I'm chatty. I'm chatty today. I apologize if I talk over you, but Austin, lay it on me. Tell me what's the deal?
I saw that you had like a million headaches forever, and you were saying about how like this might just be your life now, and it reminded me of. Do you guys know about Hiccup Girl?
I'm pretty sure the name tells the story.
Yeah, I'm already sold. Like I get it.
Okay, well, no, you think you get it. See, that's the fun thing about this story is that you're like, oh, it's what it says on the tin. It's a girl who hiccups. Yes.
Yeah, but it's like 3 years or something, isn't it?
It's that and more. Okay, we're gonna put my stuff aside for a second. Talk about Hiccup Girl for just a minute.
Why not?
This is a Florida case.
She has a name, Austin.
I don't
dehumanize them. What?
Actually, I think she'd probably prefer if we didn't just say her name because.
Yep. Okay. So from here for the purposes of keeping privacy.
Yeah, it's the okay. So this girl hiccuped like nonstop for like I think when she got famous it was like weeks, but eventually it was years. It's got to be like half a decade at this point. But somewhere along the way, I think it was like 2 or 3 years of nonstop hiccuping every moment of her life. She did a bad thing. For which she was charged and convicted, and the bad thing was murder.
Oh.
In the first degree.
I sort of feel like if I was hiccuping all the time, I'd probably want to kill somebody too.
Was it a doctor?
No, I don't remember the full story, but...
Was it somebody who was like, have you tried holding your breath?
What I'm trying to say is I wonder like how directly related it was to the hiccuping.
I mean, do you want to just research this now? Because I can do that, but
I will do it while you tell me the thing you're trying to say.
Okay.
Like, presumably she's been arraigned and like charged and had a trial by now. Is that correct?
Yeah, she got life, and she is in the prison.
Do you have access to the court transcripts?
We're not reading a court transcript on here, but
I don't want to read it on here. I just think that it might be interesting to read.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure Leon is...
Presuming that, of course, that the hiccups are in the transcripts.
That would be quite a thing.
Your Honor, defendant Hick.
Yeah, what's the stenographer shorthand for hiccup? Leon, while you research that, and
I tried to, but it brought me to a page that had an autoplay audio, and I don't like that at all. Yeah. And I couldn't find where it was doing it.
Shut that shit down.
Oh yeah, I in protest I closed it. So we'll just have to go with what you say, Austin.
Okay, continue your story of Hiccup Girl.
I mean that's the whole thing.
Or Hiccup Murder Girl.
She was
because I sort of feel like, pardon me, that if you're famous for hiccuping all the time and then you commit murder, that's at least as big as hiccups.
Yeah, she was famous for hiccuping, and then she was double famous because she killed a man.
Right.
I do not think they were related necessarily, although it's probably likely her life
they were related.
Was yeah. I don't know. Anyway, that just reminded me because you said you could get used to just being a headache 24/7, and I think eventually probably your quality of life would degrade so much that you would snap and murder us right here live on the podcast.
No. I mean, first I get miffed at you guys, and you guys go, "Stop being so mean, Johnny." And I go, "Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry."
Okay, Austin, it says that she gained national fame when she was 15 years old because her hiccups lasted for 5 straight weeks. It doesn't say anything about years.
Okay, well,
cool. I'm not saying you're lying to me. I'm saying that this article is either not telling the story or there's some kind of miscommunication.
And then who did she kill? Does it say?
I'm trying to figure this out. Right
which
now.
is why I said Leon was researching it because I definitely wasn't.
Okay.
All right. So let's get closer to home. Mm-hmm. Let's draw it in a little bit.
Yeah.
And, put on our carrying blankets here.
Mm-hmm.
And are you okay, buddy?
Yeah, I'm fine now.
She planned to rob a person and it ended in that person's death. So that's it. Mm-hmm. It's not related to hiccups. Sorry, go ahead.
So they're gone now is the thing. The hiccups.
There is nothing in here about here at the very end it said that she hiccuped virtually nonstop for more than a month, but there's nothing about it.
Okay, it's possible that I've conflated it with another hiccuping case, but I definitely remember there was a hiccup girl who did a murder, which is apparently still true. but maybe I'm
her,
thinking
yeah.
of the longer hiccuping person, and I've added it to this other story, which is why we have our research department fact checking everything I say, which is frankly more work than probably is necessary in this day and age. Doesn't really seem like it's benefiting us.
But he's eager.
Oh my.
Yeah. So we're
I just, he likes to feel.
So how are you, Austin?
Yeah, we're 15 minutes into the show by my audacity.
I'm sorry.
And I'm very concerned about our progress. I'm going to make this...
What, do you have somewhere to, like, is there a goal that is there like a treasure map where you're like, we have to talk about this, then this, and oh my god, we found it!
No, I just would like to get the show done and good, and then return to, let's see, I have 5 episodes of Fish Shark Marketing to edit, and I have 30 pages to read for class tomorrow.
I gotta tell you a secret.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tell me it.
Time passes regardless of the content of your conversation.
True, but you only get so much time to make quality content, and I would like to make the most of it because...
so would I, but here's where you and I differ.
Okay.
Is that you think that there are better things to talk about.
I guess that's true.
To me, like, the boner conversation was wonderful.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Well, now,
all downhill from here.
But now it's our secret boner conversation, Leon, because Johnny wasn't even here. That was when it was just me and you waiting for him, and I was telling you about boners.
We've had so many conversations about boners over the years that I'm fairly certain that I can intuit this whole conversation and just kind of like retreat to it.
You don't know what a hot, fresh boner heat I was bringing. It could be all
going
new.
to my happy place. Because sometimes they call boners happies.
No, nobody does that.
Wait, they do?
No,
have you never heard somebody be like, well, I got a happy?
No, absolutely not. Okay. I'm not, again, I'm not saying you're lying. I'm just saying I've never heard of that.
Maybe it's a weird colloquialism.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I get in context if some dude walked up to me and says, hey, I just got a happy, I would assume it was sexual.
I would assume he just went to McDonald's.
Look,
Austin, you need to roll around in the gutter with us more often.
Anyway, so Austin, how I'm sorry, we're sorry. How are you? What is wrong with you?
How were you?
I'm dead now. Sorry, guys. This took too long to get to. I've died. I'm an ex-Austin. I have become deceased. Yeah?
I refuse. I refuse that. I believe in you.
It almost wasn't your choice. So I'm going to make this as short as possible because I don't know how interesting this is. I have suffered throughout my life from a condition. Apparently, it's called pleurisy. Do you guys know what this is?
Yes, actually.
Okay.
Tom Waits said it in a lyric once.
It's an inflammation of the pleura, which is a part of a lung. And I guess I have chronic pleurisy. I get it like every couple years usually, and I don't have the medical knowledge to really explain why it affects me particularly or so consistently or whatever. But long story short, it hurts very, very, very badly to breathe for about a week every year or so. And it happened to me this time over the last week.
Does it happen seasonally? Is this like...
Not that as far as I can tell. I've had it since I was very young. I have a very distinct mental image of sitting in a car in a hospital parking lot thinking I was dying and
being like, mommy, the air hurts.
So it's more like surprise pleurisy, not like one specific
if
day.
There's a pattern, I haven't figured it out.
Okay.
So it doesn't it never conjoins with another illness or like...
Not as far as I could tell.
I'm sorry.
It's also not...
When you said... When you said once a year, I got that in my head, but I'm wrong. My bad.
It's about, and like even then, I don't really keep track.
Okay.
I barely know what day it is half the time. So maybe there might actually be like a pattern to it. I just haven't recognized because I'm an idiot. But it's not like contagious or anything necessarily. No. It's just like for a while, it hurts very badly to exist, and for whatever reason, I always get it in the same place, which is like directly as close to the heart as is possible. Because when it first happened, I actually thought I was having a heart attack. I was like, my heart zone hurts the most anything could hurt. Although I say that now, I think probably the most pain I've ever been in was like post reconstructive knee surgery. So this is like second. But I thought I was dying, and it feels like that. But now I know it's not, and it's just like, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to do. This is just my life now for a while. And there really isn't. I don't know. So if anybody knows for sure, feel free to let me know. I don't know that there's any actual danger. to it. It's just very bad to do. And it's like, I'm a Southern boy, so I spit a lot when I'm like walking or whatever, when I'm outside.
Oh my God.
And that's just blood. It's just blood when that happens. But besides that,
why do you spit? I'm sorry. Sidetrack. Why do you spit? I'm sorry. You just said that very casually. Like that's just okay.
That's just,
Leon,
it's just
you don't. Guys spit.
Yeah, it's a cultural thing. I've just brought up doing it. I just playing sports outside. It was just a thing. You just when you're outside and you have spit, you spit it out. I mean, I narrowly avoided many worse habits, like the people who put the chewing tobacco. Every football coach I ever had did that stuff, and they would just spit all over the field we were on. And
you say spit as though it's like a purposeful thing, as opposed to just kind of like drippage.
It's bad, and I've been told my habit, which is much not as bad, is also bad. I hear that from pretty much everyone I date. Don't do that. That's gross. And I can't. It's also like chewing my nails. I don't know why. I'd started, and now it's just part of who I am.
Which is also something that you shouldn't do.
Agreed. Not going to change my behavior.
You sleep on your stomach too, don't you?
No, I do not. Is that also bad?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't do that.
Oh.
As an adult, that's bad.
Yeah. So that's the story. I was in a lot of pain over the last week, and it was very bad. And I don't think I've ever talked about it here. So that's more. You've learned something about me.
No. So is this just something that just like when it happens to you, you're like, oh well.
Yeah, basically.
Or do you have to like you can't even like I guess you can't go to a doctor and be like, I feel like I'm gonna die.
Nope. If I went to a doctor, I would not be able to afford food or houses. I would die.
Both things I recommend.
Any house. No. So here's the thing about Florida is that our governor rejected the federal funding for Obamacare.
Ah, yes, the ACA funding.
So now, even though I am poor enough to qualify for some medical coverage under the ACA, I'm actually too poor to afford what's left because Florida deliberately did not subsidize it. They did not accept part of the money that was allocated to us. So
because he's a man of the people.
Is your governor the one who looks like Skeletor?
He's Voldemort. We call him Voldemort. He looks like Voldemort.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Anybody who wants to see him, that's Rick Scott.
Yeah.
It's
I look at him and I'm like, you need more flesh.
Oh no, he has enough flesh. He's full of flesh.
It's just in the wrong places.
He is an absolute fleshman. He's full of flesh. Have you seen this man, Johnny?
Not to memory, but most likely because
okay.
I mean, Florida loves to talk about its governor almost like every time.
What I mean is he's like featureless.
He's a rather smooth gentleman, but that's what I mean. A lot of that is flesh. You could also use that picture, like do half Falstaff, half Rick Scott, maybe. Johnny, what do you think of that man?
Oh God. See, that's what I mean by Skeletor. He just looks like a skull.
He kind of looks like a naked mole rat, but extra racist. But no, I cannot really afford going to the doctor, and actually that's kind of like part of this whole thing is that like growing up, we couldn't afford a doctor really. So it just was something I lived with and thought I was dying for a long time.
Yep.
And
that is horrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, not what you said.
I know, Rick Scott, the picture I put in the chat.
Also what you said, but
he's very bad.
I would love to just read what somebody said to him to make that expression.
He is toxic physically, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, religiously. He offends all of the senses in a really consistent way. But
so in other words, very electable.
Yeah, down here.
I don't know if it's just the angle, but he's got some big ass teeth.
I'm not really gonna. I don't think we're gonna dunk on this man's physical appearance for much longer, but he is bad.
Yeah,
but it's over now, and I can breathe.
I'm sorry to hear about your blood spits.
Thank you. Or I don't know what the actual appropriate response to that is, but
I just remembered the Tom Waits song that has the word pleurisy in it because that is literally the only time I've ever heard that word until you just said it this very moment, Austin. It's Home I'll Never Be. I'm a little worried because Tom Waits says about to die of pleurisy, So I sure hope that's just a thing that used to happen in oldie times.
Yeah. Like I said, the only reason I even know this is like, well, I guess what it is, and I possibly could be not even. That's just what I was told once when I went to an emergency room, and we basically were like, you know, the thing that people accuse poor people of doing, where they're going to the emergency room and then just like escaping and not paying. We basically did that because it was like literally I'm dying. I was dying, but now
I got news for you, Austin. I'm not even that poor, and I still haven't paid my ER bill yet. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's I'll get to it when I get to it.
Yeah, but I mean that's not Austin's problem. I assume that's probably like my family owes a lot of money to a lot of people, so that's a whole thing.
Sorry.
There are warrants out for pretty much everyone I'm related to.
Oh gosh, okay.
Yeah, it's not great. I've talked about my family before on this.
Oh yeah. We had our special Austin Origins episode.
Yeah, episode 100. But all I remember, and I was like, I must have been like 8 or something, was someone said pleurisy, and then they were like, "You got to take medicine," and we're like, "We can't afford medicine." They're like, "Bye." So it's an inflammation, and it's not like a specific virus or germ or anything. So you just would take anti-inflammatories, presumably.
I think if I'm recalling correctly, it may be based around a possible congenital, like a lung, not malformation, but like underdevelopment.
Something like that. Yeah, that's my understanding.
According to Google, pleurisy is a complication of several different medical conditions, but the most common cause is a viral infection of the lungs spreading to the pleural cavity.
Yeah, that's acute pleurisy. The thing I have is chronic pleurisy, apparently.
Okay.
He's got Blaze It 420 pleurisy.
Yeah. But while you look that up, Johnny, I have, let's see
I'm not looking anything up.
Yeah, no, I was going to ask you if you wanted to talk about, I have a video game thing, I have a card game thing, and I have Lost stuff.
I like all of those things.
Yeah.
GDC is out, and like people are doing things, and the Rift is like $200 less expensive now, and I'm like, woo! And Robo Recall was released, and I was shooting robots today, and it was good.
And the Switch is coming out, and all the games are good. The specific video game thing I thought we might talk about was...
We live in a world and a time where gaming is absolutely amazing, except for all the people who enjoy it.
Did you guys have any thoughts about the new program that was announced by Microsoft, the Xbox Game Pass, which is, as every headline will tell you, Netflix for video games?
I don't know what that is. I mean, I get it now that you just said it, but that's the first I've ever heard of it. So
it wouldn't be the first time that like a company has tried something like this. Like Electronic Arts for quite a while now has been doing something called the Access Pass,
where you get the access to all the vault of their sports games and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and also the Need for Speed games.
and Dragon Age and something else.
Yeah. But like you get like a couple of weeks early access to like their new titles and things like that. But it's like a flat fee that you pay every month. And when games pass into the vault, which is sort of like a case by case basis, you get access to it for free. Sony has been doing something kind of like it as well, I guess.
Well, PlayStation Now is very distinct in the sense because you're streaming from their servers.
But I mean that's something that that's something I've wanted to try. Actually, I've wanted to try PlayStation PS Now or whatever it's called because you can do it on PC, and I never did play all the way through Red Dead Redemption. So.
Yeah, the problem there is, of course, data caps and latency, and depending on your internet speed and stuff. This Xbox Game Pass, I think, is much more promising. And apparently, the EA Access thing has been a wild success, and that seems like a really good deal if you like all their sports games to pay. I think, was it like $5 a month or something for unlimited access to like last year's version of all their games? And I've been saying this about Nintendo for a long time. Like, I will give you $10 a month. Let me play every NES and SNES game at my leisure. If you do not accept that money, I know where to find ROMs. Like, I don't want to go down that road again. But this is inevitable for a lot of the backlog of this industry. I don't think we're gonna see that for like new releases anytime soon because development costs are so high. We have to all buy, Zelda at $60, or they don't make any more Zeldas like that. But for older stuff.
Although, like, it's weird because a Hitman did a really, really impressive thing last year, and that was convince everybody that episodic gaming can be a thing again.
We can have
like,
both.
Yeah,
we can have episodic games that they're not sure if they can get the big ones funded. They can make the big ones that definitely will sell, your Grand Theft Autos and your Marios, and then everything else, which they don't expect to move any more physical units, they can put in a Netflix style all-you-can-eat queue. And that also, I think, will retain more casual people who will be more invested in those ecosystems and then probably buy the $60 games more frequently. I think it's
absolutely, like, indescribably wackadoodle that the companies haven't caught on to the bankability of their back catalog quicker. Because, I mean, as a PC games player, Good Old Games has very, very easily proven that there's money. There's money to be had in games that aren't new anymore. I just, like, it staggers me to think that people look at this, like, untapped value, essentially, because you're selling at this point in time, from, like, I'm assuming that everything in this program that Microsoft is offering now is going to be a lot of classic, like, original Xbox titles and maybe even Xbox 360 titles and things like that. Am I right?
I saw Halo 5 Guardians in there, which is an
Really?
Xbox One game. Yeah, I think they're going to give, like, a pretty substantial collection of the games that they are legally allowed to give you. I don't think this is some shit. I mean, I give Xbox One a hard time. I think Microsoft's been pretty bad this generation, but, like, let's be clear here. Don't get it twisted. This is pretty dope. I like this a lot, and I think this is a really important part of the strategy of a couple of different companies moving forward if they're going to stay profitable.
Well, you have to remember that Microsoft basically almost single-handedly created the model for online infrastructure for consoles that we see now. Like, the whole Xbox Live thing was...
Yeah.
It was with the exception of maybe the Dreamcast, because I know that there's going to be some people out there that are like, hey, wait a second.
Dreamcast had internet connectivity. It did not have a widely supported internet community and infrastructure.
It didn't have a GUI and, like, interface.
It also didn't have Limbo, Braid, or Super Meat Boy.
Yeah,
all of which...
or being one of the first, like, out-of-the-box items to be able to access Netflix.
Yeah. Although in the early days, apparently the Wii was, like, the premier home of the Netflix app. Now it's everywhere, obviously, but that's, like, giving credit where it's due.
Yeah. But they were responsible for that, like, that model, right? That we see now that everybody's doing, that everybody's got. So I'm not putting it past Microsoft to try, like, wacky shit.
So, Leon, as the person on this show who we constantly have to cajole into playing video games or talking about video games, does this excite you at all? If Nintendo offered this, if Sony offered this, or would any of these interest you, or do you just want to play the 3 games you like?
How do I put this? If I bought a Switch, not anytime soon, and there were, it offered a way in which I could play a bunch of games for an inexpensive price, and you have my attention. But I guess it would depend on what's there. This sounds so foreign to me that it's hard to figure out what I would do, like if it was right in front of me.
We all have Netflix subscriptions though, right? Or we're always bumming Netflix from somebody, so it's like even if you don't know what's there, you'll check it out every couple of days.
That's true.
I also discovered this month that my HBO subscription has, like, totally changed, and now I have access to, like, everything, because I didn't before, because I wasn't one of those major cable provider subscribers in Canada. So I watched The Leftovers, and the first episode of The Wire again.
Yeah.
And Treme. I started watching Treme, because I've always wanted to watch Treme.
God, there's so many things I want to watch on so many things, and there's no time. They have that Swiss Army Man you guys are talking about. Just hit Amazon, and I was like,
so good.
Gotta make 2 hours for that. Also, Moonlight, which saved the world from that other movie. Which
it did.
This feels like a show where we would talk about what happened at the Oscars, but I can't be fucked.
I said everything I wanted to say on Twitter, and people need to follow me on Twitter.
Okay.
Sorry. Moonlight's a better movie, and I'm glad it won.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this right now. I watched the whole ceremony because that's what I do. I watched it with Ashley, the ex-wife / best friend, and we were all like, anything but La La Land. Anything but La La Land, please. Even though it was everyone said it was like a 90% chance that La La Land was going to win, and then it won, and then 2 minutes later they said something else, and we screamed. We were so happy that I believe we woke up her upstairs neighbor. I was very pleased that Moonlight won. I think people are making too big a deal out of the miscommunication. Someone made a mistake. For 2 minutes, we thought one thing and then we thought another thing. It's not that big of a deal. It wasn't a vast conspiracy. Mm-hmm. It was just someone made a mistake, as people often do. It just so happens that this mistake, the timing was bad because it's this really huge show and it's the last award.
And also the producer, not a hero for our times, but a nice guy.
Yeah, just, someone, people make mistakes. It's not a big deal. I'm glad that the movie that I would prefer to win won, but in the end, it doesn't matter a great deal.
I was sad this year because one of my favorite musicians, Carte Blanche, like all across the board, Dustin O'Halloran, was up for an Oscar for scoring the movie Lion.
Yeah.
But then, La La Land came out, and I was like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Because his music is wonderful, it's beautiful, and I want him to win awards and gain acclaim and get paid, bitches.
Yep.
And which he does, but, I mean, an Oscar would be nice. I'd be like, that's the guy. He writes really good music.
Mm-hmm.
Give him a hug. Maybe don't. I don't know. I don't know if he's into hugs.
Okay. You don't want to assume.
Speaking of the Oscars, a movie just came out that I'm very excited to see. I haven't seen it yet, but as rarely as I go to the movies, I might do it for this, and it's Jordan Peele's Get Out.
Oh, I hear that's amazing.
It's wonderful.
I've heard that from everybody, but I haven't.
Yeah.
You have seen it, Leon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right away.
No spoilers, but one of my favorite current music artists, Chance the Rapper, went and saw it, and he loved it so much. Not only did he have a meltdown on social media about it, he bought out an entire movie theater so that anybody who could go see it for free.
I saw that. He was like, I bought the whole theater. Just show up and show your ID and enjoy the flick.
That's the coolest fucking thing ever. And it definitely makes me want to go as soon as possible to go see that.
I would, if I were super famous, I would do that, but then leave a really cheap burner cell phone somewhere in the movie, and then just text it in the middle of the movie and be like, "You enjoying the movie?"
There's mixtapes under every seat. It's secretly a promo. So that's movie stuff. Did anybody want to talk about anything else? Let's see. I have two cases I wanted to talk about.
Have you guys seen The Leftovers?
No.
I have not.
This was because, it seems to me that when HBO makes a new television series, it's just sort of it's an event, Everybody's like, ooh, it's Game of Thrones, the ending of The Sopranos, it's the Westworld is the most watched season finale of all time, it's the Deadwood's coming back, and... I had kind of seen advertisements for the show that was called The Leftovers, and I was like, okay. And then it just sort of casually passed 2 seasons, and nobody I know watched it. I didn't read any reviews of it or anything like that, and then I read that the 3rd season's coming this spring. And one of my buddies, within a week of reading that, was like, "Hey, have you ever watched The Leftovers?" I was like, "No." "Is it any good?" And he was like, "It's interesting."
Oh.
And I can't pass up a really ominous interesting, so I watched the 1st season.
Okay.
He's right. It's interesting.
Good.
I mean, it's it's a weird kind of It's almost like a mature Left Behind.
What? Is a rapture
Yeah.
thing?
Well, I mean, this is the thing, is that they don't know it's the rapture, right? It just, like, on
Right.
this particular day, on, like, October the 14th or something like that, like, a shit ton of people just disappear. Just go, poof, gone.
Yeah.
You know, like, one of the main characters is having sex with a woman, and, like, en flagrante, poof, gone. You know, like, it just, like, that's it. But then the show picks up, like, 3 years later. Like, you get a little 10-minute scene at the very beginning of the show where this woman's, like, in a laundromat with her baby who's, like, crying and crying and crying and crying. And I'm like, the baby's going to stop crying. And then she's going to be like, where's my baby? And then, you know, like, puts him in the back seat, trying to, like, get the laundry in the car. And then the baby stops crying and she's like, where's my baby? And then, like, a car runs into another car and people are like, what the fuck? And then, boom, it's like 3 years later. You know, and it's got it stars Justin Theroux, who has been in every weird thing you've ever like thought of. He's worked with Ben Stiller on like Tropic Thunder and the Zoolander movies, but then like he was in Mulholland Drive and Inland Empire with David Lynch. And, yeah, he's just this, you know, dude. I've always liked him. I think he's a great actor, and I wonder why we don't see more of him. And I learned this week, apparently he's also famous for dating Jennifer Aniston. And he plays, like, the chief of police in this, like, tiny little town in, like, in Mapleton, New York, or whatever it is. And it's just kind of about, like, these, like, just, like, what the fuck you would do? So there's all these people who are just trying to get by, you know, just continuing to live their life and like, you know, do their own things. But then all these things just sort of like kind of drop in, these like new weird cults that show up or like governmental changes. So like, you know, like the ATF is now the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, Explosives, and Cults.
Oh.
So it's like, at one point in time, there's this, like, group of people in the town called the Guilty Remnant who don't speak to anybody. They dress in all white, and they smoke a shit ton of cigarettes. And they stare at you. And Doctor Who is in it, except he's a preacher, so I call him Reverend Doctor Who. That's Christopher Eccleston, not any of the other doctors. And yeah, it's just like... It's a weird show. Like, there's, like... I don't know... there are dogs in the show, and, like, any dog that was around when somebody went missing just fucking, like, lost their shit, went nuts, you know, just went crazy, and just, like, savage feral dogs that used to be, like, domesticated, roaming neighborhoods in America now, and it's such a... I've only watched the first season, but... Man, like it's based on a book by a guy named Perrotta. I can't remember his first name, but apparently Damon Lindelof adapted it, who I can never quite come down on, because I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, you have some interesting. Oh, you wrote Prometheus. Oh, hey, you created Lost. Like that was an interesting. That really didn't pay off, did it?
I mean, a lot of people got the hand on the Prometheus ball. I don't know if there's any one person we can...
I know, it's like, that's what the thing is that I'm kind of, you know, I can't really be like, oh, sorry, dude.
You reminded me, because you said about dogs. Real quick, there's a dog in my house right now. Don't tell my landlord.
Ooh, love dogs.
But my roommate's lady friend brings it over pretty frequently now, and sometimes it just leaves it here and it hangs out in my room, which I thought meant it wanted pets, and it does, but also mostly it just wants to watch out the window for when she gets back. And the dog has definitely permanently damaged my blinds. Very good dog though, perfect size, like big enough for like, you know, to fight people.
For sizable snugs.
Not like I like a dog that could theoretically beat me in a fight. But not one that I have to worry about. You understand what I'm saying? Like the kind of a Goldilocks.
I like
situation.
It when a dog. I like it when a dog goes from you having to cradle said dog to when you actually get to snuggle with said dog. Like that's the crossover for me. When it's like when the dog's like, I want to be with you, and you're like, I really don't kind of want to hold something right now, but okay. to when it's like the dog's like, I want to be with you, and you're like, okay, here we go.
If they're too small,
there's nothing you can do.
If they're too small, then they're very nervous, and I always worry about like stepping on them or kicking them. And that's the worst feeling. And if they're too big, they eat more food than any person could possibly afford, and they also don't know they're very big and will run over children and video game consoles and whatever else is the way. So then there's like a perfect middle ground where dogs are even more perfect than they always are. And
there's a definite size slobber correlation.
They're good when they're a little slobbery. It's good. Too much though, and I would like to pet them. I don't want them in my house necessarily.
Yeah.
That's the corollary to all of this. Is every dog is in the pet zone, just not everyone is in the own zone.
So I'm gonna push ahead on the leftovers a little more, and then decide whether or not, like, it's a slow burning show, and like even at the end of the first season, I'm kind of like, wow, I don't know if I like this, but I'm like totally intrigued. So I don't think you would like it, Leon, but I'm really, really, really interested to see where it goes. I feel like if there's a worthwhile payoff, this could be like one of the best shows I've ever seen. But don't quite know yet. On that note, Leon, keep me updated on the Young Pope situation, because now that I know that I have access to like all past HBO stuff, I can Young Pope it up whenever I want to.
Okay, I'm most of the way through the first and only season. So
I know. I just when the finale airs.
It's aired.
They're finished the first season.
Yeah.
Okay, then I might Young Pope on down.
Cool.
I might Young Pope in and say hi.
Okay. It's pretty good.
I also watched... Hey, have you guys seen Paris is Burning?
I have not.
Austin?
Is that the... I'm trying to think of a way to say that it isn't just the game one.
It is the gay one. Yeah.
Okay. I've seen part of it.
I watched Paris is Burning last night. It is a documentary about kind of what you might refer to as the gay black pageant scene in New York in the late 80s. And it was fabulous in more ways than one. It was actually like, it was really interesting to see because I'm by now, and this is something that I think comes with age, is being able to look at trends and popularity, and be like, oh, geez, that is like directly ripped off of Blur. You start to see cycles in pop culture a little bit more readily because you're not seeing it through the lens of remembered history. Like you're not seeing maybe the 1980s, like, pro-corporate America as, like, a recycling of the 1950s, like, right when it's happening. But when you're around and you see something with your own skills of observance, it comes so much easier for me to see something and go, oh my god, that's ripped right out of bleh. And it's so funny, it was so funny to see Paris is Burning and just see all these things, like even like little phrases or what's the word I want to say, just like cultural flourishes, like little idiosyncrasies that basically got like surgically cut out of that scene and then just dumped in mainstream culture without any of the baggage. There's a big segment about trash talk in it, like a good 10-minute segment where this old queen is talking about reading and shade. And I'm like, what? Shade?
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, and it like this whole thing where I'm just like, oh, holy fuck. And they do a whole bit about Vogue dancing, and I was like,
Did you not know about shade?
I did not know about shade. Shade was just some kind of thing that like people started saying, and I was like, okay, I guess everybody's really concerned with UV protection now. But yeah, it was a really, really interesting look, like an eye-opening for me, at least anyways, because I was like 7 in 1987, I didn't know a whole lot about gay rights at the time.
Okay.
But it was good. It's on Canadian Netflix right now. I don't know what that means to anybody else except Canadians, but But yeah, it was fabulous too. Oh my god, some of the outfits.
In case you couldn't tell from the tenor of that conversation preceding that one, Young Pope has been renewed for season 2. In case anybody's curious.
Good. Yeah. Okay. Johnny, shade is like insulting someone in a way that is so creative that you're almost impressed by it.
No, I know that. I know that. I did know that.
Okay.
I did not know that was like that was the origin of it. I mean, I know that there's a whole bunch of almost everything that comes up in popular culture and mainstream is kind of like originates from marginalized or the downtrodden or something like that. I don't know if you guys ever listened to Pulp, but their song "Common People" was a pretty concise way of like putting this, of being like, oh, you think poor is cool and things like that, right? Okay, you like to throw the slang around and wear the baggy clothes and stuff like that, but I did not know that was a I guess I did not know that was a black gay thing. I mean, like, how are you supposed to know?
I mean, a lot of culture comes from struggle, and affluent people often don't make a lot of interesting culture of their own. I've definitely noticed a phenomenon of affluent, let's call them white lawyers, or I guess aspiring lawyers, who have a really inexplicable taste for music that is not about anything they've ever or will ever experience. And that's all I'll say about that. Also, just like,
okay.
you guys have heard, like, recently entering the lexicon, things like slay, like Yas Queen and all that stuff. That's very much from those same kind of spaces.
No, absolutely. Well, this is the thing, is that, like, I have noticed these days that as these subcultures are getting more attention, or at least I'm open to seeing these cultures more, and maybe even seeking them out, that you can etymologically, historically, kind of ancestrally be like, yes, I see what you did there. It pays to be more knowledgeable. Expose yourself to new things, Mm-hmm. It's fun and cool and, like, sometimes sexy and freaky and nice.
This is taking a turn. Do you guys want to talk about law stuff before we jump into questions? I have 2 cases.
I'm down.
Okay. Let's do the slightly upsetting one first, so then we can transition out on a brighter note.
You're not supposed to preface, because now I'm gonna vote like an asshole.
It's darker because the first one's criminal.
All right.
The second one is contract. It's not necessarily an outcome-based tone. It's a subject matter tone.
He gets to the second case, and it's like, so a poor Russian couple agrees to sell their child to a rich American.
Oh, no. So first case, this couple is in their apartment getting just totally crossfaded, right? They're fucked up on all kinds of drugs. It doesn't actually mention which kinds, but apparently they are quoted as being very high. Mm-hmm. At which time they get into an argument, and the boy spills gasoline on the girl.
I like how you're using some very, very passive language here.
I don't remember if they were married or not. Also, the question of...
No.
I know.
Passive.
I know what you're saying. That's about to become important because she has an altercation with the stove and catches on fire.
Like one does.
Yeah, and that's why I use passive language, and why this case is kind of weird, because she survives her gasoline encounter with the stove, but she does get very badly burned, and the boyfriend guy gets charged with attempted murder and convicted.
Right.
So this is on appeal. He argues that he did not attempt to murder, that he spilled gasoline, and she had a bad stove time. What is your guys' intuition about that defense?
All right. I just want to make sure I have all this in my head.
Yeah. Some of it is hazy because they were high and don't have great recollections. I'm not very bad at telling this story, just to be clear.
Right. Okay. No, I get it. It's just okay. So they're high. He, as far as we can tell,
emphatically just throws his arm out and his collection of rare gasoline strains that he's saving for a rainy day because he watched Mad Max when he was very young and it left quite an impression on him, Your Honor.
Yeah.
All right, let me say this a different way. He accidentally spilled gasoline on her. Is that in dispute, or is that? I'm trying to figure out that part.
Okay, I'm just going to read you directly from this opinion issued by the court. Quote,
Okay.
She further testified that Gendry had poured gasoline on her and that the gasoline ignited only after she had gone near the stove in the kitchen. Gendry tried to snuff the fire out by placing a coat over the flames.
So she's saying he did it on purpose. Poured gasoline.
That's
on her.
the question. That's
I know. But what?
Well, no, she's not saying anything. The state chose to prosecute him.
The state was like, you're not allowed to light your girlfriend on fire after getting super high.
There's no indication about how she felt from it, probably because she didn't testify to any specifics. That's why it's weird.
Okay, well, and what does he say about him pouring gasoline on her?
Oops.
It was okay. He says accident, and the wording is poured, but it doesn't necessarily mean on purpose.
Exactly. And the conviction is for attempted murder, and now you have all the relevant facts.
I don't know how it shakes out, but I would say these two mutually got high, and one of them accidentally got caught on fire, and is there anything to suggest that he would have done it on purpose? I mean, were they arguing?
There was apparently some argument, but they did not testify, or it was not relevant to like any specifics.
I'm inclined,
at
a glance here, to say that his appeal succeeds.
It sounds like a terrible accident.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it sounds like to me. A terrible accident.
Yeah. I mean, this guy kind of does sound like a dirtbag.
For it to be murder or attempted murder, even, because I had to look up the word murder for someone recently.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be.
It has to be purposeful.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. It has to be purposeful. That's the word I'm trying to go for.
Because if it's not, if you don't intend to kill someone, it's manslaughter.
Right. That's what I'm trying to say. It doesn't sound like it's purposeful at all. It sounds like they're a bunch of dumbasses who got high and one of them caught on fire.
It's a little judgy there, but
and I'm sorry, but it also sounds like she was so high that she didn't realize she had gasoline on her enough that she went to a stove and turned it on. It sounds like, I'm sorry, but it sounds like they're both, a couple of goofballs who got a little too high and something terrible happened because of it. And that sucks. I can't even imagine what it would be like to be caught on fire.
But
that
Leon,
sounds like a bad day.
But
what?
But Leon.
Yeah.
Legally.
Yeah.
How do you think that shakes out?
Hold on. There's now a more interesting conversation, which is if they were stone cold sober, does that change your opinion, Leon? Because I feel like now this is about condemning them for their lifestyle.
No, because it tells us about what their mental states were. If they were stone cold sober, and he was just like, I'm gonna pour gasoline on you. Then they
go
would
get my eggs.
She would know, like 100% whether or not this was on purpose. I feel like the fact that, like you said, it's hazy is something that casts doubt on this. So I'm not just saying, oh, fuck these guys, they smoked weed once. I'm saying they got high, and that clouds the perceptions of what happened. That's it. That's the extent of it.
Okay, I was just sure if there was more.
I don't have anything further. I just mean,
all right. So it sounds like you
might not know.
It sounds like you both are of the mind that this was not attempted murder, and his conviction is reversed because in order for something to be an attempt, you have to be doing the crime itself.
At the very least, at the very least, I think it may get bumped down.
Well, I don't.
Yeah,
Something else
purposeful.
might happen. But as far as this conviction goes,
as far as attempted murder goes,
murder,
I'm like, nah, dog.
Murder has an intent requirement, as we've talked about.
Right, that's what I mean.
And so, if he did not intend the murder, he could not have attempted to intend a murder.
Right.
And that's actually there's a related case. We could probably just do this one quick.
Okay.
So this is a different one. So this guy was preparing to burn down a building he owned for the insurance money. He got a bunch of gas, and then he asked a friend if he was going to help him burn the building down. But he had not burned the building down. He was driving on the way there, and I guess his friend ratted him out because the police showed up and arrested him. Mm-hmm. Is he guilty of attempted arson?
I want to say no, because it depends. Okay, it depends how far he got.
Mm-hmm. He got gas together, and he asked a friend if he wanted in.
Yeah, so that just sounds to me like a guy planning a really shitty Mardi Gras.
I don't know what you do on Mardi Gras, which I think just passed. Does it involve a lot of gasoline? Also, these are both gasoline involved, weirdly.
No, isn't Mardi Gras the Tuesday?
Yeah, Fat Tuesday.
Yeah,
right.
Isn't that next week? Ah, fuck it, I don't care.
No.
It doesn't matter. But I mean, that's like me. That's like me having a knife and being like, man, I sure would like to stab somebody. You can't convict me of attempted assault or attempted murder or anything like that. You can maybe be like, buddy, are you okay? Maybe give me that knife. But until you actually try and do it, the Minority Report can't swoop down on you and be like, well, we know what you were going to do. I read it in these chicken bones. I guess that would be the Majority Report, not the Minority Report.
Jesus. Leon?
I don't entirely understand this one. I'm sorry.
Do you need it repeated? What don't you understand?
Dude told a buddy, he was like, I'm going to light fire to something. Look, I've even got the gas ready. But he was like, no. And then, straight up called the fuzz. And was like, my buddy going to set fire to something. And then they go and, bust his ass. And be like, oh, shit. And I'm saying that's just a really shitty birthday party for a 3-year-old.
I feel like you need evidence, don't you?
You need to start trying something before you can be arrested for attempting it. People can't say I'm an attempted skydiver. Just because I stood up in the middle of a room, like a classroom once, and yelled, I think I might like to skydive someday.
What I'm trying to say is, wouldn't it be difficult to convict this person with zero evidence? And just the word of his friend? And
all the gasoline he collected?
Look, people can collect gasoline for lots of reasons.
Okay.
Maybe he saw Mad Max at a very impressionable age.
Maybe he's just a hobbyist.
This is collector's edition gasoline.
He's the big gas head.
Maybe he huffs gasoline, which is dangerous, but I think, weirdly, not illegal, because gasoline itself is not illegal.
I have to check on that. For some reason, this seems to be stumping Leon, so I'm just going to move through it. He is not convicted of attempted arson because
I wouldn't think he should be.
Preparation is not the same as attempting. The question is, at what point does preparation become an attempt? But this is not close enough for the court.
Yeah.
And then there's a third case, which I don't think we should do because it's kind of fucked up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, inception us back.
Yeah.
All right, to the previous layer.
Uh-huh.
Does the appeal go through?
Which appeal?
Murder boy.
Attempted gasoline aficionado, my eggs are burning boy.
Oh, his conviction was reversed.
Good.
Because he did not.
I think he's just kind of a dummy.
I'm batting a 12.
Okay. And
out of 12.
The last of the attempt cases was that two kids were, I think they're elementary school kids, the two girls, and they say, let's kill our homeroom teacher. And so they bring rat poison to school, and another kid they shared this plan with narcs on them, and they are caught going through the teacher's desk while carrying rat poison.
Wait, what? They were going through his teacher's desk. What exactly were they planning on? I'm
Her a drink. Leon has very like.
I'm trying to figure out
questions.
why would her drink be in her? Never mind.
On her desk, it doesn't matter. They're at her desk.
All right. In my mind, I'm just trying to make this make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a visual learner, Austin. I have to see it.
That's great for podcasting.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oops.
I'm sorry. I have to explain it.
Okay.
In a way that it makes sense in my brain meat. Okay, so they're going through her desk, and they have rat poison, and they've said, who exactly knows about this plan?
Well, no, wait. They weren't going through the teacher's desk.
Yes, they were.
Oh, they were.
Yes.
With
that's
the
what I'm
rat
trying to-
poison.
Yeah.
See, that sounds like an attempt.
Who all knew about this?
The two kids who were doing it, and the one kid they told that they probably shouldn't have. They didn't want to get caught, and then I guess everyone in authority who then knew and stopped them.
The fuzz! Beat it!
How old were these kids?
Elementary school, I think.
Oh. Well, then they're not going to be tried as adults, one would assume.
Yeah. They are not getting their dessert, though. That's for fucking sure.
That's true. How do I put this? Were they smart enough to know that this could kill someone, or did they think, haha, this might taste bad?
No, the plan was, let's kill the teacher. Come on, Leon. It's like you like kids the least of us.
They're just
like, they're so innocent.
No,
they didn't want to hurt
I'm-
anybody. They just wanted a little bit of ickiness.
I mean, I guess they did try to kill someone.
This is, if you were a kid and you tried to murder somebody, this is what it would look like. Because you're a fucking idiot. Hi, kids.
But the question is,
I'm the friendly one.
the question is, did they try though? Because getting a bunch of gas and telling your friend about your plan to burn down your building is an attempt.
But if they were going through the teacher's desk with the poison,
it's different. I mean, if he knew where he wanted to get the fire started and he brought out the gasoline into that part of the building and he was like just starting pouring, then I'm like, yeah, you are now attempting it. Yeah. If you are a bunch of kids and you're going through the desk, you are actively doing it. I mean, it's different because if they collected the rat poison, like the guy collected the gasoline, that would not be enough. But they're in the act of doing it.
It doesn't save you if you brandish a gun and say, "Don't worry, Bill, I'm not gonna shoot you."
Right.
That's a slightly different situation, but
I'm just saying the so-called attempted arsonist collected gasoline, and the court said that's not good enough. But these kids, collected
readied the weapon. They readied the poison, and they were looking for a way to deploy it.
They were doing it. They were caught in the act, even if it didn't go into her coffee or Pepsi or whatever.
Yeah. No, that's it. That's the answer.
Yeah.
Once you have preparation, afterwards there's an affirmative act, which they took, and then therefore that is attempted murder. I also had a contract case, which I like to call the breadcrumb boys. Do you guys want to do that real quick? Because we're running out of question time.
If we can get it done in a couple minutes, sure.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a guy who makes bread, and there's a guy who sells breadcrumbs, and they make a contract where the guy who makes bread says, "I'll give you all my stale bread so you can make breadcrumbs." This is why I call them the breadcrumb boys. In my mind, they have rosy cheeks and they're very Italian and they have nice hats. None of that is true. But at a certain point, the guy
Thank you for that visual because that does help me.
Yeah, you're a visual learner, so I'm gonna have to give you visual cues for all of these from now on.
I can just see them.
But anyway,
all I see is that fucking Florida governor.
Yeah, he's very bad. So the guy who makes the bread, he becomes good enough at it, or his process is such that he doesn't really have any stale bread anymore. He's very good at making bread. So there's no more stale bread to give to breadcrumb the breadcrumb boy. So he stops giving him bread to make breadcrumbs out of. So the breadcrumb boy sues him for defaulting on his promise to give him the stale bread to make breadcrumbs out of.
No. I feel like that's not true. That's
that's not true. You just lied.
That's bullshit.
No. I'm saying that the deal was when I have stale bread, you get my stale bread. He doesn't have stale bread. He does not owe him like an error in bread making in order to give him stale bread. Yeah. It's like if I said, I will, give you money every week so long as I have money, and then if I don't, then I'm like, oh, well, the deal was so long as I had that money, but now I don't. You didn't have any more stale bread. It's over. Get over it. By the way, in my head, to differentiate these two, regular bread boy has a big hat, and breadcrumb boy has a small hat.
Like a beanie?
No. It's the exact same hat, just smaller.
Okay. I was thinking different hats.
I'm
with Leon. I mean, as long as, you express the nature of the contract accurately to us, where it was like, hey, when I have stale bread, if I have stale bread, you can have my stale bread.
Yeah. Basically. Yeah, so this is called the output contract, which means you have exclusive rights to what I'm outputting. It does not make you an indentured servant for all of time. But
I knew the sperm bank was lying to me.
But you do have.
Wait, did I get all 4 of them right this time?
I mean, one of them. I don't know if you really got the arson one. You seem to kind of not like that one.
Oh. Okay.
But
for the ones I had a point.
Okay.
I'm batting a 14 out of 12.
But yeah, the idea here is that you do have to make a good faith effort to deliver on a deal if you make it. So they both really made that deal. And he delivered on it for a while, but then he no longer could do so without incurring financial costs that were outside of the original agreement, he was no longer he was not bound to do more to put himself out.
When he became bread mafia,
he became the bread lord, the loaf lord, and he was immune to all the breadcrumb. What are we talking about? Questions.
I'm sorry, guys. I feel like I've been all over the place this episode because my head is clear, and I feel like, I don't know, it was in a very instrumental part of my brain that regulates things.
Yeah, your think meat.
Yeah.
Let's answer a question before we run out of time.
Okay.
Oh dear.
I can do a couple. I'm not pressing tonight. I got time.
Here's one for Johnny. Ian Andre asks, if you guys met, what would Johnny cook for the 3 of you? Which assumes a lot about us and our dynamic and Johnny's time and how much he values it. But let's just assume.
Yeah. I would if we all like hung out once, I wouldn't be like, hey Johnny.
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
No, I would cook for you guys. I would absolutely cook for you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Neither one of you are big meat eaters. So I think
I eat meat. I just don't eat it as much as I used to.
Yeah, I mean, but Austin, you're practically vegetarian, aren't you?
I mean, for financial reasons mostly, but yeah.
Lettuce is so cheap.
Yeah.
Well, so I think maybe to like if it was a preference kind of style thing, there's this really great prawn capellini dish that I know. That's made with a kind of an olive oil or butter sauce mixed with some dried chili flakes in it. I like to use chipotle chili flakes because they kind of add like a smokiness that's just like, ooh. And like a little bit of seared brandy and just like, or not seared brandy, sorry, burned off brandy. So flambe brandy with the prawns. The capellini's like... like an oil butter based sauce, and it's pretty simple, but it's like a nice. It's real easy to prepare, and just kind of like, hey, and that's how easy it is, guys. If I was going like full on, lavish, probably like, either like a roast tenderloin, like a pork or a beef tenderloin. Maybe a leg of lamb if everybody's feeling a little gamey. And depending on, whether or not it was like beef, pork, or lamb, like different seasonings. But and probably some Yorkshire puddings, because I love to make Yorkshire puddings. I love Yorkshire puddings. They are so good. And for sides, I think I would just probably have to make Austin eat some baby bok choy. So maybe baby bok choy sautéed in like a miso butter. That's a favorite. I love that. And for a starch, I'd probably bake a loaf of bread. So, I mean, I provide options, is what
Johnny,
I'm saying.
you can just give me bread.
No, man. Like, this is
I'm
like,
good.
come on. If you guys, if by some, like, weird smashy miracle, the four corners of the universe united all as one, and we could step into, like, another place through space and time immediately, I'd just be like, I'd appear in a community center with, like, a bunch of groceries in my arms and be like, hey, guys, we're eating dinner!
Johnny, here's the thing. Like, I would appreciate the effort, like, immensely.
Yeah.
But I would be just as satisfied with a peanut butter sandwich.
Yes,
That's
I know,
like...
Leon, but I also enjoy cooking.
Okay. Well, I would eat your food for your benefit.
Solely for my benefit, I'm sure. Yes, absolutely. I understand.
Okay.
While you were talking about baby bok choy, Cam, my good friend, sent me a text message, a picture message, of what appears to be Teen Jeopardy, in which one of the contestants, apparently from MIT, answered a question with, "Who is the spiciest meme lord?"
Was it the right answer? I would love it if it were.
I am almost certain that is not a correct answer on Jeopardy.
Oh, damn.
It would be amazing if it were.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Oh, well.
Next question, Austin.
Forum mom, Kirsten Haslinger asks, favorite compliment you've ever received?
Somebody once told me that I was the best talker they ever knew.
Oh, I believe it.
And I was, I qualified that. I was like, do you mean best speaker? And she was like, no, best talker. Someone to talk with.
I was absolutely convinced when you started that sentence, you were going to say, somebody once told me that you had a boyfriend that looked like a girlfriend that I had in February of last year. And then you were just going to do that entire song. And
actually, Austin,
yeah.
Someone told me that I was a boy who likes girls to be boys who are girls who like girls like their boys who do boys like their girls.
All right. Any other songs you guys want to just monotonely state the lyrics to?
I really like that song, Both Sides Now. It's really pretty. I'm not going to, though.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of like the best compliment. Yeah. I don't mean I really apologize. This is going to sound like a really shitty humble brag. I get compliments every day.
Dang.
Because I produce content on the internet, and there are like dozens and dozens of comments every
All right,
day.
then let's roll it down. Something that somebody personally.
Right.
That makes it really easy because there's a ton of really flattering things people have said about Dice Funk or my writing and stuff. But when it comes to the meat space, there's only one compliment that comes to mind, and it was, "Wow, I can't even fit it in my mouth."
First of all, how did that person say that with it in their mouth? I call bullshit.
I don't need to discuss this any further. I'm just reporting. Make of it what you will.
Austin, this isn't subtle. don't be like, use your imagination as to what this could have meant.
Leon, yours?
I'm trying to think of something someone close to me has said. Someone told me that I helped save her life, which I guess is a compliment.
Yeah.
That's pretty solid. That happened recently. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that one. That's pretty solid. Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
it's not a funny one. It's not about dicks.
Dang.
Man. If only you and I had aimed lower, Leon.
Dang.
Yeah. I want all the stories about all the people who have walked up to us and said, "Oh my god, that boner!" But
Well, just found a new ringtone.
yeah.
Thanks for that.
But yeah, that's I guess my answer.
Yeah. There's just, guys, I probably shouldn't even say this, but there are just so many questions about avocados in here.
Don't, guys, stop! We're not gonna do it. I'm
Hit me with
all
one.
Of them. Just no, Johnny, don't, no! You don't understand. We have to take a firm stance on this, or it's just gonna keep happening.
Look, I'm the food guy. Okay, I can handle it.
Fine, but please, quickly. There's only so much.
No, we can't do this. We can't. Can we though? No. Here's a real question.
Thank you.
Okay.
You've
Consumerist
overruled you, Johnny. I'm sorry.
Consumerist Skeleton asks, what common skill are you bad at / can't do? For example, I can barely ride a bike without falling down. Are you guys
I've never even learned how.
Are you guys bad at any normal shit? That's like, okay, you just missed that one. But there's like a normal thing that people do that you can't do?
Oh, yeah, probably. But I'm also very good at blocking out my flaws. So give me a second.
Yeah.
Probably a bunch.
Yeah.
But there's not. But it kind of like it's a lot of stuff. So there's not like, oh, the one thing I can't do. There's probably plenty. So let me think of. Let me sort my brain out here.
I'm very bad at meeting people.
Okay.
Like, I'm awful at meeting people. I forget names really, really quickly. Because I just have this, there's this switch in my brain that just goes, okay, we're going to exchange names once, and then I'm never going to see you again for the rest of my life. So it's like, hi, I'm Ted. I'm like, yeah, hi, I'm Johnny. And then, like, 40 minutes later, I'll run into the guy at the same function, and I'm like, oh, shit, what's this guy's name?
Johnny, how you solve that is you say, you know what's great? Thinking of things that rhyme with my own name. What are things that rhyme with yours?
That's only one of my problems, though. Another one of my problems is that I tend not to like the small talk questions that people engage in are ones I have no patience for. People find this kind of like wacky and charming and things like that.
That's only because of your face. If you were like a really ugly guy, no one would have time for your shit.
Yes!
When you're handsome, you can say anything you want.
This is kind of a thing. Is that it's true, and I realize that I can kind of get away with it. So I'm sort of like, people are like, "Oh, Johnny, so what do you do?" And I'm like, "As little as I possibly can." And they're like, "Ha!" I'm like, "Okay." Thanks.
I think we've all had the kind of introverted talk before where like we're all kind of bad at a lot of socializing stuff. The one that came to mind for me was like clothes, like dressing myself. I guess I know like abstractly how to do it, but I don't know if it's bad. I just kind of refuse to dress nicely. I'm going to have to get over that eventually, but like I don't
You'll get there, boy.
I don't fold or
believe in
iron
you.
anything. Like I do laundry. I do a lot of laundry, but I don't
You spoke in hushed tones about how good you felt in a suit.
Listen,
There's going to come a day where you're going to be like, oh my god, I have to wear all the things.
Yeah, it's also Florida is not ideal suit weather, but
No.
that's a whole other issue. But I probably should be able to dress myself more like a normal person, and so far I have avoided doing so. So that's my answer.
I look damn good in a suit. I'm just going to say that right now. So whenever I have to do public speaking functions at conventions, you better believe I'm in a suit. So that is something I learned how to be good at. In terms of, let's see. Let me think of... I'm bad at shaking people's hands because I always feel like I'm not sure what kind of pressure people are expecting. Because I am, let's say, a delicate sort. And
You're a gentle soft boy.
right. So like the idea, like, so, but usually when I shake men's hands, they like, I don't know, they really go for it. It's like a contest. They like, I have to let this other person know just how strong I am. I'm like, that didn't need to happen at all. We're not arm wrestling. When I meet like a person who is like a guy, they squeeze my hand.
Leon, the next time you're in a social situation and a guy tries to like crush your hand to assert dominance, just look him square in the eye and says, "This has no bearing on your masculinity." And just hold eye contact while you say that with like a big smile on your face. And then when you just see what he does.
It doesn't make me think this person is now dominant. It just makes me like confused. And when people do that to me, it's usually an indicator that I don't want to be friends. It's like wait, I feel like this was too important to you. Like this is a hurdle we're never going to be able to get over. When I shake women's hands, it's fine because we're just two people who are having a good time and meeting each other. I'm better at hugging. I just go right in, and then it's fine. I found a picture of me in my best suit, so I'm gonna put it in the chat, just for fun. So that's me in my best suit.
Very visual. You look like a more svelte penguin from Batman Returns.
Cool.
And I don't mean that as an insult. I'm saying you look mildly sinister.
Good.
I don't know if it's intentional, but if you were trying to pull it off, you did it.
Nice.
I feel like you're plotting something.
Funny story about this picture. My friend Derek took it. He's very tall, which is why I'm looking up. Shortly thereafter, someone rushed into the hotel and says, "Hey, we got a big traffic problem out there with the buses." And I looked at him like, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear."
Because I thought you were like the usher or some shit.
He thought I worked there.
Yeah,
because I look too good.
You look official, like a penguin man who's usurped a town's authority and become the mayor. For example,
this kind of went on for a while because immediately I didn't process what was going on, but he looked really frantic at me. I'm like, why is this my problem? And then I said, oh. And I figured out what he meant. And then he figured out the problem at the exact same time. And he said, "Do you work here?" I'm like, "No." And then he ran away. Like it was my fault. Look, I can't help it if I look real sexy. All right. And I exude a kind of authority. I stand there and I kind of put my arms behind my back, which is also apparently some sort of power posture move. I don't mean to. I just don't know what to do with my hands. That's it. Oh, that's the other thing. I don't know what to do with my hands. So I usually just put them behind my back or in my pockets. But not when I'm wearing a suit because that looks sloppy. And that's it. Those are the only things I'm bad at. Clearly.
That's the whole show. All right. So we're out of time.
Okay.
How do we end this thing?
So
there's a cliffhanger where you're all in mortal danger and then the theme song, right?
Sure, why not?
I know.
I guess.
That's this one, right? Good. We've done it.